Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to COM S532, Media Technology and Communication Strategies. My name is Michael Schroeder, and I will be presenting Chapter 10, Digital Signage, to you. Now, I'll be going through the PowerPoint as I speak, so that's kind of your cue to follow along with the PowerPoint attached to this link as you watch this, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. So, further ado, we will talk about Chapter 10, Digital Signage. Now, what is digital signage? The Digital Screen Media Association defines digital signage as the use of electronic displays or screens to deliver entertainment, information, and/or advertisement in public and private spaces outside the home. Now, another definition from the Digital Signage Federation, a network of digital displays that is centrally managed and addressable for targeted information, entertainment, merchandising, and advertising. Now, the bottom line is you need three aspects for digital signage. You need a screen or display to make it digital, of course, and you need content, some sort of advertising in it, and you need a content management system. Now, let's compare digital versus traditional signage. Traditional signage is more what we're used to growing up. It's a single message over several weeks. Think of a billboard. It doesn't really change. You drive to work every day, you see the same billboard. So it's a lot harder to change that, which is good and bad. No audience response. You drive by a billboard, okay, you passed it by, there's no response. There's no feedback to the advertising company on if that advertisement is working or not. If you change the content, it means basically putting up a whole new sign or a whole new billboard or whatever your advertising means is. You have to create a whole new product to advertise. It's also 2D presentation. It's pretty standard. One of the advantages, however, to traditional signage is compared to digital, there's a relatively low cost associated with it. It's pretty simple to put up signs, to put up placards, billboards, things like that. Now let's take digital signage. It has several advantages. It can display multiple messages in one period. So you can have, if this computer was our display, you could have one display come up for an advertisement. A few seconds later it goes to a different one, and a different one. So you can have multiple advertising companies on the same sign and display multiple different messages to reach different audiences. Also, it can allow for audience interactivity. Some people are creating digital signage that has the ability for the audience to actually interact, get some feedback, and see what's working in the advertising campaign. Also, you can change content quickly and easily. Think of billboards again or something like that. You can send a new message to it, a new advertising campaign, and snap your fingers. So that's a big advantage to it as well. You can also use mixed media, pictures, videos, sounds, things like that to attract people's attention. It's not just a 2D presentation. Kidding, have a moving picture or an interactive thing that draws the audience in. There's also, however, high upfront technology and investment costs. Now that is a big drawback because it costs a lot, especially for fancy screens or fancy technology. It's a lot more expensive to set up digital signage. Now, what are some strengths of it? Well, first off, and very big, there's a higher appeal to younger audiences. This is very important because as any company providing a service or a product, if you can capture the loyalty of the younger audience, the next generation, through any means, whether it's digital signage or something else, once they grow up, they're going to look to your product or service. So capturing the next generation of consumers is actually very, very big potential for digital signage. There's also a more frequent and a higher volume of messages. We already talked about you can exchange them, you can swap them out. You can have sell multiple things on the same sign. You can also have messages that are tailored to a specific audience, and day parting is a big part of that. You can have day parting, which, think of a billboard that maybe at rush hour in the morning will advertise things like coffee, things to get your day started, to get you motivated, to get the day going. And then maybe at lunchtime or time to go home, the signage can be swapped to a different range of audience, maybe sports events, things like that, to try to get people out of work mode and into that recreational mindset and appeal to that nature of people getting off of work. And then maybe later at night, you might be able to swap to an entirely different audience to reach truckers, people working at odd hours, things that they will be appealed in. So there's a wide variety of capabilities that day parting is an interesting concept that can be used in many different venues and advertising screens. We already talked about we have interactive signs, and that's still developing on what exactly that's going to look like, but that's a big potential strength that digital signage has. Its interactivity is unparalleled against the traditional signage. Also, digital signage can get customer trend data and or feedback for the advertiser. And this is huge. Again, before you had a billboard, you drive by and it's gone. The company doesn't know if their advertisement's working. Now they know, hey, these people stopped, looked at our sign, they interacted with it, and things like that. So you can actually record some of that trend data and make their advertising, their campaign even better with that. What are some types of digital signage? These are kind of generic categories just to help define the field. You have point of sale, which basically is the intent is to sell a product or service. Like a restaurant, you might offer pictures or things like that of your food, advertise this is what we want to sell, and it's just designed to sell a product or service. Point of wait, the idea is to place a digital sign where people are going to be waiting, like a taxi, a doctor's office, things like that, an elevator or a bank. You know people will be waiting, and so you have their attention for a certain amount of time. Point of transit, the idea is to reach people that are on the move. Places like airports, billboards, bus shelters, store windows, they're walking by, they see an advertisement in a store window. You only have their attention for a little bit of time, but you need to hook them. Now, what are some obstacles? We already talked about the high upfront cost for one, but there are also things like standards for digital billboards. Since it's still an emerging technology, that people are still determining what is acceptable for digital signage. For instance, billboards, they've realized there are problems with very interactive, very busy, long movie clip type things, or very bright displays that actually distract drivers, and it's a safety hazard. If you're driving down the road and you look at this billboard going by, whoa, well, you might get in an accident. So what they've developed currently is images must not be more than 4 seconds, and they must not be too bright. Digital signage, the field as a whole, will probably continue to see some of these standards to kind of clamp down on what's acceptable for the advertising company. There are also privacy concerns with this field. We already talked about some of the digital signs recording trend data, customer preferences. Some data is even like face recognition, things like that. Obviously people are like, whoa, 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 they want their privacy. They don't want to be exposed to advertising companies targeted for things like that. People don't like that. So there are going to be more and more privacy restrictions coming, as well as what's already in place. And then kind of along with that is audience measurement. Again, the idea is that people don't want to be measured. So they're finding the balance of what the advertisers want to measure the audience, and the audience doesn't want to be measured. So they're finding that balance, and that's going to depend on the sign, the advertising company, and everything else. So what's the future of digital signage? Like all technology, it's still emerging, and it's going to kind of grow with other technology. One of those is developing alongside 4K and Ultra HD screens. Digital signage itself is a very fast-growing technology. 4K Ultra HD screens is kind of growing up pretty fast as well, so they might end up linking together. It's very interesting to see. We'll see if they kind of link together, or if they remain separate, or what have you there. Also, digital signage can use the same technology as like the Xbox Kinect, the PlayStation Move, where again, if you're the sign, you can wave to it and it'll wave back, things like that. Make it much more interactive. That's some of the technology that's here now, so what's going to develop in the future, it might be voice activated. Maybe they can track the movements of your eye on the advertising board and figure out exactly what you're looking at and what is working. You can also have augmented reality signage, kind of like that interactive thing. They can actually basically create the sign to be a whole new world, a whole new interactive reality. The potential of that is incredible, and we'll see what develops there. One of the aspects that's kind of simpler for clothing stores, things like that, is you can virtually try on clothes. Very interesting concept, saves some time, save money, saves costs, and it's more appealing, again, to the younger audience and to people. One interesting thing a couple of restaurants are doing, Chili's is offering kind of a fast, casual twist on the restaurant. They're experimenting with trying to figure out how they can change that. They have Basically, it's a little box that'll sit on your table. It's pretty unobtrusive. And the idea is you can order your food, you can browse their menu, you can look at their desserts, you can order dessert, you can order drinks at any point. You don't have to wait for your waiter to come back and do it and take your order, go put it in the kitchen, and it come back. It goes straight to the kitchen, so it's faster, it's more expedient, and it's more appealing because you can see the pictures in a digital format of the chocolate cake you're going to order for dessert. You can also play games while you wait and other aspects. So they're trying to put a different spin on the restaurant world to make it a little bit more faster, a little bit more casual, a little more relaxed in entertainment. And also it can save on upfront costs for, they might not have too many waiters, things like that. So that's going to be interesting to see how that continues to develop in restaurants. And also Pizza Hut, some places they're experimenting with an interactive table where you can build your own menu. You can move things around, put your own toppings on there, put your own spin on things, and make it, again, more interactive, more fun, and quicker, because the order can go straight to the kitchen, and you don't have to wait on all the moving parts to get your order in place. So that's sort of some of the capabilities that are there now / in the future. The question I would like to leave you with for now is, what is the single most defining characteristic or capability of digital signage that makes it so appealing? What is that wow factor? What is that, just that element to it that makes it cutting edge technology? I look forward to hearing your responses. Thank you very much.